Okay, we are live. Yeah, I believe that's working. Yep, great. All right, so thank you all for attending. Yeah, a lot of interesting things going on in the world. Yeah, the Queen has left her body, which opens a door for a lot of opportunity for people to reconsider what goes on in the world. Yeah, when we're looking at a lot of the world wanting to go democratic, and they look at the England Empire and don't even recognize it as being anything wrong. It just as though it's a necessary process of a country that has a culture, and it's necessary for that culture to survive. So they need to have a queen, and that allows everybody to think in the terms and the ways that they do, subserviency and all that, but they don't think of it as subserviency. They think of it as being in service to the queen, in service to the motherland, in service, like being a patriot, But in reality, this is a president of a country who is not elected and remains a president. If you look over the title of the queen, it's the commander-in-chief. That's who the queen is, commander-in-chief. Yeah. So you can't really jump back and say, wow, no authority here. They're just titulary, they're just look fine and have a crown and, represent ancient historical belief, cultural processes and fine and dandy, But it's not. It's not. It is the same as if we had, a president who will not relinquish the position. And we have that. And so what's wrong with that? Well, in England, it's not, you don't think of it as that. You're so given up to the process of it being that way. You don't really realize that all of your human rights were taken away. You don't vote. You can't vote. You might be able to vote for your prime minister, but that's not the president of your country, And it's more like North Korea. Yeah. If you look around, what's anything close to it is North Korea. And they got to go crazy. They got to go, well, that's because he's God. We can't change something where we made a big mistake and we go, okay, he's God, and once God, always God, and God has kids and they got to be gods, so that's just the way it is in a place like that. Yeah. So that allows you to keep in a state of control. Yeah, and it doesn't allow, it's worse and worse and worse. That one, just beats the shit out of you and kills you and, won't allow you to leave the country, and, dictates and dictates and dictates, So it's a very violent process of loss of human rights in that area, but it's all the same. You don't see it because England is old. It did that to all over the world. Took people's human rights away. Took India's human rights away, and almost tried to take America's human rights away. But we fought against it and chose not to be an emperor, chose not to be a king, chose to be re-elected and not to have a prime minister, but to have a senior president. That does take on this role, this really, really big role, and it's a role that you should be qualified for, It's a role that you start off as a kid, and you plan it. It's not an accident. You work hard. You study every single thing that would be best in service. Best in understanding military, best in understanding economics, best in understanding every single thing about the human structure. Not just politics, but the human structure as much as you possibly can. Social understanding, anthropological understanding, so many things that allows a person to be educated enough and grounded enough to know the differences between prejudice and culture and what drives you as a patriot to make decisions that are so low-minded. They have nothing to do with democracy in the end. Democracy is a high-minded state of being, a high-minded state of being. Yeah, so it's not something you just join. It's not something that just comes about. You don't just make it happen. It is a high-minded state of being. So that means that we got to really foster a lot of human rights in order to have it to take place, and those human rights have to be fostered on high-mindedness. A country that has developed, truth, a great deal of truth. Okay, we get rid of cigarettes, we get rid of tobacco, we slow back the process of people being alcoholics, and we do our best to move them into clinics and, move them on to hospitals so that they can get the right kind of treatment, and give them counseling. And, it's not a harsh, throw them in jail because they're drunk and they can't control themselves, and that's just who they are. We're in a society to where we actually care. And we have done a lot for it. And we've done a lot for people who need to stop smoking, rather than harassing and throwing them in jail or, making a law that it's illegal to smoke and therefore we're going to throw you in jail and that'll stop you, And in low-minded reality, that happens. We don't want to be like that. That's not democracy. Democracy is a high-minded reality. Every single step of the way, it's a high-minded reality. So we have to step up, we have to learn, we have to become educated, we have to make changes, things that don't work. We have to move toward finding out what does work. And what works, not as some kind of political process, but what works as a human being. What are all the rights, all the things that are necessary as a human being. We slowly but surely grow to develop and understand. And we facilitate it, whether it be education, whether it be, you're a person who wants to go off and, meditate the rest of your life, As time goes on, we will understand the need for people who want to go meditate for the rest of their life, But we're not anywhere near that. We're nowhere near that. We have cults and we have New Age jargon, and we have, I'm an extraterrestrial, all that kind of stuff. And that's not high-mindedness. That's very low-minded stuff that is knee-jerk, bullshit, like QAnon and things like that. That when we're in low-minded stuff, we're available for all this false education and false understanding and false this and that. But in democracy, it's all about the truth. It's all about finding out what's not false and what is the truth and applying it and making one layer after another work. Sense it, watch it work. And in democracy, we heal the biggest problem inside of society, which is the delusion of thinking what a boy is and what a girl is, what a human being is, what it is we should eat in order to stay healthy, how is it we should behave in order to stay healthy, how can we live longer, do we have to be rich, do we have to have the best insurance in the world, do we have to have the perfect genes, choose exactly the right mate, and skip on, any possibility of a genetic mutant coming into play, eliminate cancer, eliminate everything, that is something that a lot of people fell into and believed in, all the way through Hitler. That was the reason for the gas chamber. All the tests and all the experiments were all about that. Genetic belief systems that we can control our offsprings, we can control our society, we can make a better world by creating a better race of people, a new gender, a new race, a new kind of superhuman. So those thoughts aren't with nature. They're not with, what it is that we're going to do in a state of democracy. When we get into democracy, we're going to follow a state of truth. We're going to come to a state of understanding. We're all going to take it in as common sense, and we'll apply it. And we won't be in a state of separation that this person's greater than me, therefore I shouldn't be doing it. Or I'm already freaking crazy and I got tattoos up my ass, and all over me. And it blinds everybody every time they see me. The tattoo around my eyeball just doesn't look good. And I want it to look good, it's going to be there forever, But how do you get rid of that? You got to get into a different group of people. Or we have to tolerate. We have to be in a state of toleration. So what happens if we go into this state of tolerance? It's not about anger. It's not about, I can't have you in my business because you're a freaking demon. You're too ugly. You got a tattoo, or your hair is sticking straight up, that's too weird. We can't have that. It's not about that. It's not about that. Is the person qualified? Are they qualified? Are they able to talk to another person without being an asshole? If they're not, you don't hire them. Don't be forced to hire them because they look weird. Yeah? That's tolerance. That's tolerance. And laws are being made today in order to make sure that you fall in line. And that you don't, these people are mean. They're mean. They'll come into your workplace and they'll try and get a job, and they look lazy, they act lazy, they're hostile, they're aggressive, they won't say the things they're supposed to say. They got all going on, but the reason why you don't hire them, they say it's because it's their gender. Or they say it's because they're gay. Or they say it's because they're transgender. Yeah? But yet, that may not have all been the reason why you didn't hire them. But you have no right, because they have those things. They have those things going on. And we have to tolerate that, but we don't. We don't have to tolerate it, In order to be a Buddhist, you have to clean your life up, You have to make choices to know that, actually in life you only have a couple of friends, not 100, not 1,000, not 1,000,000, maybe one or two, and the rest of them you don't really see that often. You don't talk to them that often. You may go to work with them, you may hang out a little bit. They're acquaintances, not really friends. You don't go camping, you don't, you might go to the bar, but that still doesn't make a person a friend. So what do you need? What do you need? You need self-realization. Yeah? You need to feel good about yourself, to not have any need for what you call a friend, or what you call a workplace that allows you to be at a place, just because, it's a legal, tolerant scenario. So you've got somebody standing next to you that's a guy dressed as a girl. You got this person over here that wants to go to the bathroom with you, but they're, and you don't, but there's no legal right in it. You're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. It is here. It's here. It's here in this world. It's here. And you have to decide. That's where your freedom comes. You can't go in and boycott it. You can't say, well, I got a right to keep your penis out of here. What? You can't say that. I'll sue you. Shit. Sorry. I wish I hadn't said that. But it's what you say. It's what you, by nature, it's what you say. But you can't, you got to be tolerant, and you got to stop your nature to allow another person's, absolutely unnatural position in life, here you are, you're a girl, you're in a bathroom, you want to go to the bathroom, you know, and this guy follows you in the bathroom, wanting to put his makeup on, you know, and, you know, you turn around and just say, excuse me, you know, this is the girl's bathroom. And he says, yeah. He goes, I'm a girl. Excuse me, your beard is too thick for you to be a girl, you know, and, you know, and this is very, it's scaring me, you know, and, you know, and they can't even say that. Why? Why does it scare you? Are you homophobic? Are you transphobic? Are you, you know, vagina-phobic? Are you penis-phobic? What are you phobic of, you know? You know, and then you're going to go to jail for that, for being phobic, you know. Nah, I don't think so. No. This has got to end right now. Yeah, has to. Yeah, because there's an agenda to this process. Yeah, it's an educational process. You know, there are a lot of people who are very stupid. A lot of people go on the street, walk up to anybody, show them a map of the United States and ask them to name 4 states. 4 states, just 4 freaking states. See what you get. You know? And if you do this, you know, then walk up to someone who's like 18, 19, 20 years old and show them the whole map of the whole world. Ask them to name 1 continent. 1 continent. Just one. You know? And they'll put Alaska's, you know, France, you know. France isn't a continent. Wait a minute. Is that a continent? I don't know. What's the definition of a continent? You know? I mean, we're in that ignorant state. We're in a very, very, very ignorant state. You know? So we're not really in a position to determine whether or not it's a good idea for people to be transgender. We're not at all educated in any way, shape, or form other than being educated. We're being educated. Yeah? You can educate the ignorant and they'll believe it. Yeah? And they'll tell you that, oh, you know, even if God says it's wrong, I can show you God probably thinks it's right. And for you to agree with me on God probably thinking it's right, let's take the old Moses rainbow and use that as our logo. God. Use God as our logo. You know? And who's going to complain? Because Christians don't use the rainbow. You know, they use a fish. Or a cross, you know, or a guy on a cross, you know, but they don't use the rainbow. So that's up for grabs. Yeah. But they give reference to it too. They give reference to Moses and the freeing the people of Israel and the freedom to become free. God moved us. God chose us. Yeah. We're the chosen ones. Ho, ho. Interesting, huh? Gay people really believe that they are the chosen ones. Yeah. So they walk into church, and the church has to do it because they're ignorant and they don't know who is the chosen one. What is it? Mary? Is it John the Baptist? Is it Paul or Peter? Or is it the guy Jesus? All of them. You know, it's so kind of scratch the head ignorant bunch of people. Now you take someone who's Mary Magdalena, she's a whore, a prostitute, and got more demons in her than any other person Jesus ever met. That's in the Bible. It says that. She's gone and left and go back and be possessed by the same demons over and over again, come crawling back to the group. You know, demon possessed. You know, black-eyed, all kinds of, I mean, I'm telling you, she was one scary-ass demon lady. You know? Didn't really want her around. But she wouldn't go away. You know what it's like. Demons are so possessive. They cling on to you. And then the church takes that and thinks, wow, man, what a love story. You know, and Jesus must have loved that girl special. Forget the demons, forget the prostitute. You know, then they go, well, you know, I mean, even Jesus liked prostitutes. What? Wait a minute, just a second. You know, I was a friend to a tax man, I was a friend to many people, you know, but give me a break. Yeah? Yeah? It's a process of toleration, even in ignorance. Everything is a process of tolerating ignorance. You know? Making ignorance, you know, the way to go, you know? And establishing authority. And so people in a state of ignorance have authority. And they really don't. And that's what democracy is about. It gives us the opportunity to sit back and hear the situation, talk it out, and then go, okay, let's vote. Are we going to continue this, or are we going to get fresh water? You know? I know we can't afford, you know, to have a purification system. It's going to we're all going to have to spend an extra $10 a week, you know. But I, as a person, don't want to do it. You over there don't want to do it. But a lot of people do want to do it. So let's vote. That's democracy. That's not authority. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? And you let people talk. You let people share their view. What is why? Why you don't like dirty water? What's that crawling out of your butt? You know? Tapeworms and everything. The kids aren't speaking to you because they've been sick for 10 years. All their life. You know? And they're not growing well. Mercury is in the water. You know, this is Mississippi. This is Indiana. This is Illinois. This is, you know, Philadelphia. This is New York. All over America. It's the way it is. And we don't do much about it. Why? Not because of democracy, but because of authority. And politicians that take money, receive money, but don't spend money. They don't take care of people because the people aren't the ones making the choices. Yeah? Everything has to work in this way in all communities, in every area, whether it be your school district. Parents, you got to show up. Yeah? You got to know what's going on. You got to go to the class. You got to sit with the teacher. You got to see what the class is doing. You got to know what's going on. You got to be willing to be a volunteer and go into the class and stay in the class and volunteer. You know, you have kids. You know, well, yeah, you have to do it. That's democracy. That's a world of democracy. Yeah, that's what we do. But then the government also does. You know, well, you know, we provide all the free education. The books are top of the line, all new, all best. You know, your science class is top of the line. Great teachers, very enthusiastic, because they get paid well. You know, yeah, because that's democracy. Because we all care, and we share. Because we talk it out, and we vote toward it. Yeah, if we don't, you know, then you lose. You lose. Your community loses. Your kids lose. You have to face that. Yeah? That's democracy. Yeah? And making bad decisions and things like that come around. You continue suffering. The kids go to school. They come back home. They're not happy. They're not going to go through education to the point of finishing school. You know? Their grades will suck. Yeah. Why? Because the parents aren't a part of the scenario. You know? And democracy isn't playing out. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? Everything plays out. And in a state of democracy, we have to not tolerate. It's about not tolerating. It's about getting to know what's going on and moving things to such a degree to where nowadays we have online. We can be at a meeting without being at the meeting. Yeah? You have a kid, you have a responsibility for that school. When it has a meeting, You have a responsibility of attending the meeting and voting. And voting. Because the meeting will allow you to vote. And what you do in your vote will count. And the world will go forward in your power. It'll take away the whole thing of us thinking we need guns and we need authority over, authority. We're fighting against authority or now lack of authority. Cops just come in and beat the shit out of you and hide while the shooter's killing your kids. That's the truth. And we're finding this out. We need to do this completely different, completely 100% different. We've got a scenario to where we have a Trump, and now we're taking the first president, is going to go to prison. There's no question about it. He's going to go to prison. Yay, that's a big deal. Yeah, but it's a terrible thing. But it is the proof of democracy. The proof of democracy. If we have a right to have someone take away voting, destroy your faith in the voting system, which is the very heart of democracy, destroy your faith in that, and turn you against the other side, and thinking they're the ones who did it. They're conspirators against you, against your children, against the future. And they're all in it. They're all in it. And they're pedophiles, and they're with Satan, and holy shit. Yeah? If we don't practice our democracy very quickly, and we are, our democracy is coming out 120% every day. We're way over the top, way over the top. Everybody, Republicans are choosing to no longer go along with the QAnon, no longer go along with, well, they stole the election. They can't go along with every single Democrat as an evil being. They just can't go along with it anymore because of the bills and the things that are being passed. They're standing up for people for the terrible things that the Republicans are doing and saying against everybody. Everybody. Nobody has a human right, according to the Republican. Nobody. Yeah? So we're moving in a direction to where the process of healing the chakras is what makes the difference in this thing. It's not about us, just joining the Democrats or the Republicans or independents. It's about the fact that we are being moved into a greater and greater awareness. Awareness. Through intuition and group activity, group thinking. We're much more willing to get on YouTube and not watch regular news, CBS and things like that. We're much more willing to go to YouTube and dial in on Midas Touch or other groups that are extremely brilliant. Leaders, lawyers and politicians that are no longer in that field, writers and people on the highest level who are on YouTube who are giving you reports, on day-to-day reports on what's going on. And you're not listening to, Fox News, telling you this and that, then that you could also go to the Russian news and you would hear the same thing. Not a good thing. And you wouldn't know this for years. You wouldn't know it for years that you were a Russian agent working with Russia. You wouldn't know this. But trust me, it's going on. It's going on. So what really is behind the scene is the process of people waking up. People being awakened by Christ and by my teachings. The things I say are common sense. I'm not teaching you anything about Buddhism, and I'm not teaching you anything about Christianity or how to be a better religious person or anything like that. I'm teaching you about how to see better, how to think better. That we need to see things together. So I tell you things. Tell you stories about things, involvements of things that are going on, so that you will know that, oh wow, that's really happening. Where you might be sitting back going, well, RuPaul, been on TV for 12 years, #1 TV show, big deal. Well, that may be to you, but what about Jesus? What about you in reality? You're tolerating something that's going on, and you're allowing a process for that to go on, and you don't know that that's what's happening. A little watching of this and that, a little trickle over here, watching this show, watching that show, this show. It's all a data feed. It's all a data feed. And we're being moved to have much more opportunity to watch these perverted interactive scenarios, where you find a transgender person on a movie, or you find a gay person working out their process of being gay and all their mannerisms and everything that come with that, and you literally got to watch the freaking movie as though that's a truth. It's not. It's not even 1% truth. It's a quirk within the reality of our life. Why throw it in the movie? Just like smoking. No one smokes. But yet everybody smokes in a movie. Not that many people drink. But everybody's got whiskey in their hand in a movie. Everybody's got a gun and they're shooting people out of cars. And nothing really goes off on that. You get away, cop tries to catch you, you go through alleys, and you're still alive and you make another movie. That is we're being educated to tolerate what isn't real at all. Doesn't exist. It's not entertainment. It's education to tell us that this is how violent the world is. This is how it is. This is the struggles of the world. Everybody's got a gun. So then all those crazy ass people out there are going, we need a gun, man. What if they start shooting us on the freeway? And every once in a while you hear someone shooting someone on the freeway. That's because people are crazy. And it happens. We're moving in this direction. It happens. So we're going to see it. But it doesn't mean that it should happen, that it's normal in any way, that we should be in this position. We're only in this position because we're being moved by our lower chakras. We have no idea that that's what's going on. We have no idea that the process of Trump, or the process of accepting how many people go to war, and whether or not we should be in war, whether or not that's a patriotic thing. All these things are issues that we never solved. We don't solve these issues. We just kind of go crazy over it. It's terrible. Oh yeah, PTS. Oh yeah, I just heard about that. Shit, we've been through so many wars and you're just now figuring out PTSD. It used to be just, I get flashbacks, And we have no understanding. Understanding is everything. Until we get to the point of understanding, we go over that hill and get to the other side to where we apply it. And we don't do that anymore. That means no more wars. Why would we have no more wars? Because it causes so much suffering. That's why. You don't do something that causes so much suffering. You don't do it. You negotiate. You talk it out. What is the problem here? What are you upset about? Really? You're upset about that? That was 500 years ago. It's like the McCoys. Truly, people. Look at Putin. Putin is upset about having lost the USSR. How many years ago was that? And he's willing to go to war with the whole world to bring back the past. Because just like China, we want Tibet, and we want Thailand, and we want, Hong Kong sooner or later, because it's ours. It's us. You know, and that's craziness. We don't understand. We don't understand. We have to become more mature. We have to evolve ourselves out of ignorance. I mean, when you're beaten down and you're so worn and you're so torn down, like China. Imagine, go through the history of China. They were taken over by a little country called Japan. Japan. Can you imagine that? Japan took over China. Beat them down. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that became the most embarrassing reality inside of China. That happened. They weren't prepared. They had no idea that would even, no one even would come in to do such a thing. They had Mongols, they had this and that. But these little Chinese suckers, they were violent. They were aggressive. They were willing to take on big sections of the country and do violence beyond their wildest imagination. And they weren't prepared. You know? And every country has a scenario, whether it be Germany or Russia. Right now it's North Korea in relationship to South Korea. They're really angry, like the McCoys. Does that make sense? This is all it is. Crazy people who are angry about the past. Yeah. And they're so unhealthy. They're in this PTSD process. You know? Imagine you're North Korea. You're the head of it is in PTSD. All the generals are in PTSD. You know? They can't see clearly. Their heads are inflamed with nuclear war coming at them from America. So they have all history, you know, based on America did this and they did that and they're our enemies and da-da-da-da, you know, and that's 24/7. And we're not doing shit. Oh, we play baseball, we play football, basketball throughout the years. You know, we've never even gone over there and said anything, you know. You know, we stand on the edge because we don't want them to go to war with South Korea. Yeah? It's not about us. Yeah? But that's the process in these countries. All of us do not understand the amount of lack of integration in soul and personality in all these countries. And the Dark Lords, the corporations, like Putin is a corporation. He's a corporation. He steals money from all the people, from all the oil companies, from every business that goes on. He gets a percentage. He's a corporation, you know. Our president is a corporation. He walked away out of the presidency getting $150 million for losing. For losing. He's a corporation. He incorporated himself as a person who lost. And he got $150 million for it. Can you imagine that? Yeah. It's not what you think. It's all money. It's not politics. It's not anything. It's money. And on the worst end, if things are to continue the way they are, we won't have countries that have politics or governments. We'd only have corporations. Only corporations. And we will think that we are evolving because we can go up the ladder of those corporations and watch everybody else not make it because why? They're dumb. They can't apply themselves. They weren't wealthy enough to go to the special school to be hired in that corporation. Yeah, because most of the corporations are greedy. Corporate killers. Yeah, they kill. That's how they win. Yeah, just like Trump, you know, his father said, you know, if you're going to get ahead, you have to be a killer. Yeah, you can't go anywhere without being a killer. You know, so we don't have politics, we don't have governments in truth. You know, we have corporations that rule our politicians through their special interests and their controls. So we have so many things out of touch with reality. And we as the human beings, we here, especially in America, we have all the power in the world, and it's going to happen, all the power in the world to transfigure America. Transfigure it. by buying power, by our choices, by our day-to-day choices, by our voting. Yeah, because we're going to see over the next 3 years that there are at least 10% less Republicans than there were in the last voting process. 10% less, which means no Republicans get voted in. And 15 years after that, because these Republicans get uglier when they lose, they get uglier. So then everybody just goes, holy shit, I can see what you mean. They are really crazy. And they tell everybody the other people are crazy. Everything they're doing, they blame on the other people. After a while, common sense wins over. Common sense. Yeah. So you're weighing out the process of this ruling this country. You, people, individuals, will rule this country. And that's democracy. Yeah. You'll rule it. Yeah. You won't be ruled by it. Yeah. Your presidents will be a part of you. They will represent you. They will pass bills that are trillions of dollars, and they won't be for military. They'll be for a green government and a green industrial change, and a new productive process that goes toward us building our own wind generators and building our own computer devices and all our chips and everything that we might have to get elsewhere. Our electric cars that are going to come from China if we don't hurry up. Because people want them. And they have darn good electric cars over there in China. We have Toyotas, Nissans, everything over here. Yeah? And that's only because we, as a nation, didn't fulfill the needs of America. We didn't build hybrids. We didn't build economy cars. Yeah? We built these hot rod-like shit cars that everybody wanted, But common sense, the brighter side of humanity, said, well, actually, I'd rather get 30 miles to the gallon. And I don't really need a great big truck. I can use a very small vehicle. And I don't care if it's a Honda. Common sense tells me it's smarter to buy this than it is to buy that. I just don't need it. Yeah. So we are changing the economy. We're changing everything. So we are in this next structure, in this next process. Our future is dramatically going to change. Dramatically going to change. And all the things that we heard about, we can't vote and and maybe, the voting system is rigged and things like that. We're going to find that we're going to clean that up. Yeah, and we're going to make it possible for everybody to get to voting. And wherever we have little problems, we're going to fix those problems. Because there are less and less Republicans as time goes on. Less and less. Yeah. So they're not going to make it to where you only have 2 places to go and vote when you should have 25. 2 places, which is what they did last time in Texas and many other places where they're very big against Mexicans and black people and poor people. Yeah. They just completely wipe out your ability to get to a voting place. And then they close it down so that you can't get in. They make it illegal so that you can't get water or food or be talked to anybody. All these things to make it harder for you to vote. Yeah, more inconvenient. Oh yeah, you got to go. You can't mail. No, can't trust it. Can't trust mailing in of a vote. Yes, you can. Everybody gets mail all the time. What would be the difference in a process of voting? We all get our mail. Occasionally mail is lost. But this is, we're coming into a world where we can trust. It's not a conspiracy world. It's not, a dark process. But we have to learn to understand that we're being manipulated. So we have to choose healthy opportunities, healthy choices. We have to choose electric cars. We have to choose to do things that will make it right for kids. Choose not to allow, transvestites to dress up, guys to dress up as girls and go into libraries and dance for little kids. Yeah, take a look at this.
This is the Drag the Kids to Pride event at Mr. Mister's in Dallas's Oaklawn neighborhood. Organizers promoted it as a family-friendly drag show where kids danced with the performers. What came with it were protests outside.
You people are the symptom of a dying society, and you know it.
You're scaring children! Shut
We're
up! I live in this community. I have for several years.
Daisy says she first saw a poster for this event near where she lives.
I don't believe that I should be seeing signs advertising for children to be dancing on stage with men in thongs and in inappropriate clothing and makeup.
The organizers say today was a family-friendly event with a safe environment separate from their normal operations. In a statement, they said, "We believe everyone should have a space to celebrate who they are. Mr. Mister's is a place where everyone is welcome to feel accepted, safe, and included."
I've been here like every night throughout the week.
AJ Cruz has worked at Mr. Mister's for about 2 years now. He said today's event allows people to express themselves.
There was a lot less people drinking today, so that would make it more kid-friendly just because there's so many people here. Everyone just came from all walks of life and, just enjoyed Pride.
Pride. Remember that. Pride is one of the worst things we could be dealing with, is pride. It's what causes war. It's what won't allow the McCoys to let it go. Yeah? It's what makes a man rape a woman. It's pride. Yeah? It's what makes a woman lie to a man. Yeah? It's pride. Yeah? Everything that we do that is wrong comes from the energy behind pride. You erase out morals, ethics, reasoning, consideration, empathy, compassion. Yeah? You see a person on the street, they are in need. You choose not to give anything. Why? Pride pops in. No way. And you have no idea what makes you think like that. It's pride. It's your pride. It's the one thing you gotta let go of. It's pride. Because it can make you gay. Yeah? Because the energy goes around, comes around. When you put karma out, and it's all pride, self-centeredness, all pride, the energy will come back as a circle. And you'll lose who you are. And you're either a boy or a girl. Yeah? And if you push too much pride, you're a bad boy. Yeah? Or a bad girl. Yeah? And you can't make any choices. So all of a sudden now you're on the back of a motorcycle. You got tattoos. You're hanging out with people that have no control over themselves and all they want to do is party. Because they live by pride. Yeah? Imagine Hell's Angels. How much pride? Imagine a person in the military with their weapon ready in hand. What causes them to do that is their pride. It's their pride. Proud boys. Pride. Yeah. Every bit of murder comes with pride. Every bit of murder. Yeah. Everything Lucifer did was under the will of pride. Yeah. He was proud of being so pretty. He was proud of being an archangel. He was proud. And that proud, just veils his truth, and it becomes a circle. That pride turns you into the opposite thing you are. An archangel turns into the devil. That's how bad this can get. An archangel can turn into the devil simply by introducing pride. Being proud, arrogant, creating all the vices. Yeah? And it all starts with pride. The very first one is pride. What would make Eve bite the apple? Is when Lucifer questioned her intelligence and her ability to understand God. Do you want to be on the same level as God? Yeah? Do you want to understand what God understands? Do you want to see the same thing God sees? Do you want to be equal? Well, yeah, that makes sense. And that was a building of pride. In order to even consider, yeah, you had to have pride. You have to build pride. And if there's no pride, then it ain't going to happen. Won't happen. Why? Because you have humility. Humility. Yeah? You can't put yourself up there. You want to be equal to God? That question is unexplainably terrible. You know? It tears your heart out having been asked the question, you know? Oh my God, no. But coming from Lucifer, who already lost, already has pride, transmission begins. Yeah? And that's where the pride comes from. It doesn't come from God. It's not even an essence, an element, a quality of God. Yeah? It comes from Lucifer. Yeah? But it's in us. Yeah? Because we have transgender in front of us. We have gays in front of us. We have pride. Yeah. We have people who are football players that feel that they need to break another person's back and get away with it. They have pride. Yeah. Oh, I broke his legs. You know. I shot that gook. Yeah. I beat my wife. Yeah. I beat my kids. Yeah. If we were back in a day where I believe in those days, why that person, we'd take him out and hang him. You hear it all the time. You hear it from our own president. Yeah, because he's just filled with what? Pride. How is it he can't lose? Pride. Who has more pride than him? You can't come up with it. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can go talk with Hitler, have a sit down, but you put Trump next to Hitler, you know, you're going to think Hitler's a wimp. Evil's there, but he gets it from him. Yeah, you don't understand. There's only one devil. One devil. One devil. And imagine, you're all in the mind of Trump. Trump. Any essence of pride you might have, any essence of any glamour, gluttony, vice, indecisiveness, assumptions. You know how much he manipulates people to assume so that he gets away with shit? He uses the power by him indulging so much. You just got to assume he knows what he's doing. Yeah? There isn't a thing, not a thing, that isn't involved in the process of us being affected by sex magic and money magic. Yeah? The only reason why we all suffer is because we follow the devil to the dollar. Yeah? The devil is the dollar. And we follow the dollar. Yeah? And you don't want to become a monk or a nun, you know. Because you can't imagine any money in your pocket, you know. You can't imagine having the freedom to go buy whatever you want, you know. You can't imagine that you're going to get paid every week and, you know, now you're going to go do something with that money. No, it doesn't happen. You know, we all just share and care, and we all talk. That's what we need, and we share it, you know, because that's democracy. That's democracy. That's a monastic life, is democracy. Yeah. But you got to give it up. You have to give up the aspiration of individual fame and fortune, and all the things that would take us all away from democracy. You have to give up, the inner feeling that, oh, I'm gay and I need to kind of follow that because that would make me happy. Or I was born an alcoholic and I need to be an alcoholic. Or I'm a drug addict and I need to be a drug addict. Or I'm a liar and I need to continue lying because I make more money lying than I do telling the truth. Yeah. And all these things are natural things in the lower nature of things. They're in the lower nature of things. And they all come from this one guy. Permeates our nature, our human nature, and to be like him. If you don't think he's not gay, you don't think Trump's not gay, I can show you times when he made points of focus where he wanted to kiss men. I can show you 3 little boys that he raped. 3 little boys. You don't rape little boys and not be gay. And he did that. Yeah. You can say, well, he raped little girls, he's just a pervert. No, he is a pervert, and he is gay, and I don't know what else he does in his privacy of his own home, whether or not he wears high heels or a bra or what, but shit happens, folks. It happens, and we don't know, but I'm telling you, any perversions isn't a lifestyle for this guy. Gluttony, vices, everything. It's his lifestyle. It's his lifestyle. He plays golf just to cheat. Just to cheat. See how much cheating he can get away with. Come out on the top winning. By cheating. Always by cheating. He doesn't do it to play golf. He does it to see if he can get away with cheating. Just like he said. He said to Pence. He said, don't you want to do this? Don't you want to take over the election? Don't you want to? Wouldn't it be cool? That's what he said. Wouldn't it be cool? That's how low, that's how he thinks. That is so mundane to do such a big thing. Such a big thing. Wouldn't it be cool to get away with it? And that's his thing. He gets away with it. And to him, that's cool. Because he's going to continue living after raping little boys, little girls, raping women, pushing them into a clothing room and raping them, never getting caught, never going to jail for it, losing airline companies, losing football companies, losing casinos. Who loses a casino? Nobody. They give you money in a casino. You don't lose. Unless you're spending more than what you're making. And you're using it just as a cover-up for all the other bad businesses you got going on. The tax loophole. We lost 1.5 million here. That means all that's going on over here, this tax, we can do that and transfer back and forth, and we never have to pay a tax. If you look at it, you're going to see it, and everybody's going to see it sooner or later. So many books are out there. There's going to be more books on Satan, the life of Satan, the end of Satan, the material world of Satan, the changes this world had after the end of Satan. What was it like 10 years after the death of Satan? What was it like 20 years after the death of Satan? 2,200, the death of Satan after 2,200. Really, it's going to go on and on and on. The world is going to be so much different. Never go bad again. Because Satan isn't coming back. And Satan's real. And you don't know it. You don't know it. If you knew it, what would you do? What would you do? Go shoot him? That doesn't do it. Doesn't stop him from reincarnating. He has to have Jesus the Christ come on earth watch him, judge him, push humanity through telepathy by raising humanity up to recognize him, judge him, enchain him, and put him in prison till he dies. That's like in the Bible, folks. That's a fulfillment of the devil. Revelation. Yeah? The coming of Christ. Yeah? Unless that happens, this is all going to continue, and we're all going to have a big corporation country that's going to go on to Mars, and we're going to incorporate that just like the biggest corporate person here in the world, wants to do, and we're all just thinking, corporations, give me a job. Yeah. Don't buy into this shit. It's over with. Yeah. Take on the truth. Get simple. You are not wasting your life in a cave. You are not. The devil will tell you. The devil will tell you you only have one life. Why are you sitting in this cave? Why? What are you doing? What good are you to the world? Are you helping people? What? Did you have a family? Huh? What'd you do? The devil will keep coming at you. Get out of this cave. Go do something. Go find a wife. Go have kids. Get a good job. Make a lot of money. Build it up. Get yourself into prosperity. Have something to leave behind for everybody to know you, that you are this great person, that you achieved all these great things. Yeah. Or live in a cave. Yeah. Or live in the mountains. Live in a house. Be born in that house. Die in that house. Yeah. Yeah. Is that an empty life? No. Not at all. Not an empty life. Yeah. Yeah. Live your life on a day-to-day basis, knowing that you may not be here tomorrow. Yeah. Not that you're going to be here forever. But you may not be here tomorrow. So every day has to be like this is your last day, and it's the best day, and it's the first day. Yeah? And that's just the way it is. You have no idea how long this is going to be, but you have to simplify. Yeah? If you keep thinking, that this is the end and I have very little time, you're going to accumulate and try and make happiness and store happiness in your day-to-day life because you're afraid that one day it's all going to be gone. You're going to be dead. And this is, there's a lot of shit in that. There's a lot of scariness in that, But the truth is that we reincarnate. Yeah? So we have to get our values right. Yeah? We have to get our perception right. Yeah? We have to let go of our process of desire. Yeah? And fulfillment and expectations and all these things. Yeah, if we could be in one place and relax and not be going crazy, yeah, just doing nothing, yeah, you're more enlightened than anybody, yeah, because you're not being moved by the darker side of yourself, telling you that you're not gaining anything, you're not getting anything, you're not going to be anything, yeah. The more we go to our simplicity, let go of our pride, because that pride keeps tapping you on the shoulder, telling you, hey, you can graduate. You're going to go back? Hey, you ever going to be a lawyer? Hey, you ever going to do this? Hey, And then you spin your wheels in that, and you didn't spend the time you should have spent having a good day. Out walking around, having a nice day, doing something you want to do. Yeah. And if you can't do it, work out what it takes to be able to go do it. And do it. Yeah. Get things done in your life that make you happy. Enjoy. Yeah. Health, exercise, eating just right, living in a small situation. Keeping your footprint down to a minimum. Yeah. And seeing yourself the same way every day as you come around. Just allow that cycle to continue, and you close the door by your own self. You close the door to all these delusions and illusions that allow your chakras to go to a different direction. Yeah, because we have to close this door. Here we have what you just saw drags for kids at bars. where parents bring the kids to the drag thing. Well, Discovery Channel is putting out a drag channel so kids can learn how to be dragged. Learn how to be dragged. It doesn't stop there. I'm going to help you out here and just give you a few more things.
Welcome to the Pink Palace, my lovely friend.
I first discovered drag at 13. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I wanted it. Put on the wig and the makeup, and I'm someone completely different. I'm so pretty!
My drag name is Vanessa Shimmer, and she is just a force you cannot reckon with.
How do I parent a child that wants to do drag?
I never expected drag to be a part of our lives.
Oh my God, these are so cute.
These are problems I never thought I had to prepare for.
What I love about drag is the glitz and the glam.
I'll pause here for a moment because I want to answer the question that the abusive mother asks, albeit rhetorically. She asks, how do I parent a child who wants to do drag? And her answer on how to parent the child is to not parent him at all, to instead allow him to be swept along by whatever forces are influencing him, and simply stand by while he's used and abused in this way. Although that's probably a far too generous interpretation of this woman's role and motives, given that she's not only allowing her child to do drag, but also putting him on television. It's pretty clear that the forces influencing the child and driving him to cross-dress are, at least partially, his parents. As the horror movies tell us, it's coming from inside the house. There are a couple more points to be made here, I think, some of which require us to unfortunately watch a little bit more of this, which we will do now. Watch.
Noah, and I'm transgender.
Have you talked to Mom and Dad about your pictures?
What do you think of taking those photos down? The constant reminder that I had to pretend I was a boy.
Do you think a mom would ever want to watch me do drag?
How do I explain this to my child that she doesn't fully accept novella?
Making friends has been a hard thing for me to do. When I'm becoming Nemo, become more confident.
Let me make sure you are appropriately fluffed.
This transition has been difficult for them, but they try, and that's all you can ask for.
It's important for kids to understand that they're not alone.
So my mom started Draguton. Kids and their families are coming from all over the country where we get to be our true self.
Oh God, this is happening.
It's Vanessa Shimmer!
This is a place of love and support because we need that in this world.
This is me, and you better like it.
Bye.
Drag Queen Story Hour, which started as a small fringe phenomenon in San Francisco in 2015, is now sweeping the land. This is where parents bring their young children to a public library to be read to by a drag queen. The public libraries, of course, are happily welcoming these events. In Minnesota's Hennepin County Library System, these Drag Queen Story Hours now occur regularly. On October 17th, one such story hour was occurring in the Ridgedale Public Library in Minnetonka. The drag queen, who called herself Sasha Soda, walked in with high heels, a pink skirt, and a shirt that exposed his midsection. According to an attendee, the drag queen strode suggestively past the children, sitting down in a chair before several preschool-age girls with his legs spread wide, exposing his nylon-covered crotch in front of the children, sitting at eye level. First off, why the double standard? In any other setting, if an adult exposed their crotch to children, they'd be in jail. Our politicians should get Drag Queen Story Hour out of the libraries. If that means cutting the library's funding, then so be it. It isn't just Sasha Soda who's problematic. A brief search of various Drag Queen Storytime performers reveals a consistent trend of both highly sexualized and ghoulish outfits. One performer, pictured, has about 5 white horns with red tips on his head. And don't for one second think that Drag Queen Story Hour will stop here. If left unattended to, Drag Queen Storytime will soon be in the public schools. It's also a mistake to think that this issue is confined to Drag Queen Storytime and not see the big picture. Across the country, child drag queens are a growing phenomenon. Desmond is amazing as an 11-year-old boy who has received glowing media attention despite clear and convincing evidence that his parents are financially profiting from his exploitation. How on earth does an 11-year-old decide to be a drag queen without heavy adult manipulation? These child drag queens do suggestive shows in front of adult men in bars as the men sip their drinks and watch. Where is child protection services? Speaking of children being influenced by adults, there's also a growing trend of young children being given life-altering hormone blockers at an early age. The latest example of this is 7-year-old James Younger, which is only a public controversy because his father doesn't want to give the 7-year-old hormone blockers. Never mind the fact that the results are in an early treatment of gender dysphoria to the extent it even could exist in a young child without an adult manipulating the child has a terrible track record. It's unnecessary because children grow out of their dysphoria, and it's incredibly damaging because of the terrible and life-changing side effects that often ensue. Common adverse reactions include severe joint pain, like the type you experience when you're 80, but actually when these kids are in their early teens, and severe depression. Part of the story is a growing acceptance of transgenderism, which is the left's next crusade in the culture war. But the transgender lifestyle, especially for biological men, often comes with heavy drug use and high-risk sexual behavior. The average lifespan of a transgendered person is about 30 years. The uncompassionate, who are pretending to be compassionate, say this shorter lifespan is because of the discrimination transgendered people face. If society only were more accepting, they say, trans people would do better. Yet the lifestyle choices of transgendered people, who are deeply hurting and wounded due to many private reasons, say otherwise.
I said I hate my life. My life is nothing but doing drugs, prostitution. I don't like myself. How did I get to this point? How did I end up with breast implants? I looked down at myself, I said, how did I end up with all this stuff? Why do I have all this confusion in my mind?
But there's even more here than a growing acceptance of transgenderism. Ultimately, the far left is pushing the increased sexualization of American children. That's not acceptable. Here's what our politicians need to do. Number 1, ban hormone blockers for young children, at least under the age of 16. Number 2, ban the exploitation of children. That means child drag shows and the pageants that young girls are forced to endure. With Alpha News, I'm Willis Krumholtz.
Drag queen story hour featuring children, right? In which this pastor is dressed up as a drag queen and he's reading to kids. Take a look.
So with many other exhortations, John proclaimed the good news to
Merry Christmas.
The gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
You may be seated, and I'd like to invite any children or people who would like to see a picture book that I will be showing on the iPad here. Anyone who'd like a closer view of that, to come up and sit. Come up and sit somewhere on the ground here. I have an awesome story to share with you today. I'm really excited to share it with you. I have a question first, though. Have any of you ever seen a drag queen? No? No, is this everybody's first time they're ever seeing a drag queen? Well, hello. I am also a boy most of the time when I'm here, but today I beautiful queen today.
Yes, beautiful.
So, the story that I want to share with you today is called Joy. Does everybody know what does joy mean to you? Yes, what does joy mean to you?
Being friendly all the time.
Yeah, being friendly all the time. That's really hard to do, isn't it? Being friendly all the time. Yeah. Well, here, let's start. See joy here. Earlier in the service, I talked about joy as liberation or as freedom to be who you want to be and do what you want to do. I don't know about you, but when I was in school, I would feel a whoosh of joy every time they said you can go to recess. Or maybe you feel a whoosh of joy when I say you can go back to your seats. And in the gospel today, John the Baptist says that Jesus is coming soon. And that Jesus will baptize with fire, separating the grain and the chaff. Do you know what grain and chaff are? I would also think that Jesus wants us to have life, and that Jesus wants us to have joy. Don't you think? Mm-hmm. Today is our dress rehearsal for joy. And so that we can know how to receive it when it comes. Will you all pray with me? Let's pray.
Yo, Merry Christmas. You're all gay. So, interesting, huh? Yeah. And it's not something that's subtle. It's real, and it's built into the system in our chakras. You know, it's just a matter of how much that bad karma you've done. You know, have you raped anybody? Have you molested anybody? Have you focused on being gay and found pleasure in that process? And all these things, that slowly but surely, it builds. And it develops this whole other being, this whole other consciousness. You know, but the problem is that they know people aren't gay. You know, they know that. So, and they use the term gay in order to recruit you. You know, because the problem is in life, we're not happy. You know, we get depressed, we commit suicide, we get upset, we don't maintain good relationships and all that, you know. And we're not gay, you know, we're not happy. Yeah. So the term gay the term gay means to be happy. You know, not homosexual. You know, so we took that out. Now the term gay is not about happiness, it's about being gay, about being homosexual, being liberated, being free to be gay. Yeah? Coming out of the closet, you know, where you were kept from being gay. Yeah? You know? And now you're happy, you're joyful. Why? Because you can be gay, but you don't want to be gay. There's nothing about you that wants to be gay, you know? But there is when someone raped you. There is when the church does it. There is when your pedophile sister is after you, and your pedophile uncle is after you, and all these different people are what they are, and it's in your life. And you go to PBS, you'd think, well, safest place on earth, go to PBS, let the kids watch PBS channel.
It's a little thing at some library in San Francisco. It's no big deal. So now, PBS is teaming up with the New York City Department of Education. They're partnering up on Drag Queen Story Hour programming. Here is Miss Little Hot Mess, one of the leaders of Drag Queen Story Hour, talking about the new venture, which is geared towards kids aged 3 to 8.
Get your singing voices ready. And we're going to start with our hips. The hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. The hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish.
And what are they seeing?
Through.
They're seeing the same thing you see with Gaga, the same thing you see in entertainment. What makes you interested in those people is their makeup, their artistic expression of getting your attention. Yeah? Whether it be a great big headdress or their eyelashes or a great big blue lipstick or blue eyeshadow and, you know, flurry dresses, you know, whether it be Cher, yeah, or Madonna, yeah, or anybody in the entertainment, female entertainment side of thing is a drag queen. That's what a drag queen is. Even though they're women, but they're creating the culture of the drag queen by dressing up as an exaggeration of feminine beauty. And you know, like exaggeration to the clown side of things. Exaggeration. It's like a Kardashian. But yet we're going, I don't know, that seems pretty modest. You know? I mean, they're you know, I think that 48-inch hip is normal. I mean, it's normal, you know? And that 22-inch waist is really normal. And that 67-inch breast is really normal. And that little 2-inch head just fits everything, you know? So I mean, the lips alone are there for you. Yeah, the eyeshadow is there for you. The first video of her having sex with a black man is there for you. For you. Does that make sense? Satan created a lurid situation to defame women, devalue them, yeah, by making them only sex objects. Just sex objects. And then he said, now you need to be a glamour queen. A glamour queen. So that's what all queens are. They dress just like this. Great big gowns, great big this, great big that, long things behind them, you know, big ass crowns on their heads. They're just a bunch of transgender, transvestite, exaggerated, glamorous beings that leads to this. And we
The
tolerate
town,
this.
the dance of the dragon goes twirl.
Dance of the dragon, people. This is, now there's a 3-year-old child out there, millions of them, all swirling right now, you know, doing the dance of the dragon with a transgender guy. And they're like, and they could be either boy or girl, you know. And are they confused in their gender? Is it possible they can be confused in their gender? Yeah. 12 years, 15 years now, RuPaul has been on TV, and all the kids right now who think that they want to go transgender, do you think in their previous life they watched RuPaul before they died and enjoyed it? The number of people who watched RuPaul were mainly older men. Yeah, it's fact. You know, and then they die and they come back and they're these little kids and we wonder what? And it's just reincarnation. You're being trained. Gender questions, everything, you know. Elton John goes out there as a transgender. He's been doing that with his hats and his glasses and his flurried, you know, long dressy-like jackets. And cutesy.
Twirl, 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 twirl. The dance of the dragon goes twirl, twirl, twirl.
Yes, it does. Twirl, twirl, twirl.
All
Don't you want to join in?
The town, big finish. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Okay, I've had enough round of applause. That's too much round of applause. What's wrong with that? Hey, what's wrong with that? Are you seriously going to say it's wrong for drag queens to be dancing around for children? You can't say that. The New York City Department of Education says it's great. PBS, Public Broadcasting, says it's great. This is no longer just in some library. Your kids are going to see this if they're watching PBS, which means you're a bad parent. but let's say they flip, you know, you're trying to show them the good stuff. You know, you're trying to show them wholesome entertainment, like, I don't know, anything else. But then they accidentally turn on PBS and they see this. This is what's going out there in the culture. And you will not be, there is no academic freedom in the classroom or at work or in the government to disagree with this sort of thing. You'll be called a bigot, you'll be called a phobe of some sort, and you will lose your job. And that's just the way it goes.
And that's truth. And all of you out there have this problem. You can't get jobs, you can't go get a burger, you know? You can't go anywhere or do anything. I went to a place in Napa to get a burger, and there was this girl standing there, a nice, big, fat, black woman, but had a beard and lipstick and everything, and said, "Hi, how can I help you?" But yet there's lipstick and long hair and boobs, you know, and I'm like walking backwards, you know, grabbing my two kids. Yeah, you probably don't remember it. He was there, yeah. And he's going, I want a burger. And I said, no, we're not getting a burger here. He goes, why not? What's wrong with the burger here? You know, I said, shut up. You know, I don't want to say what's wrong with the burger here. Let's just leave. This is very embarrassing, you know. You know, remember that? No, you don't remember it, but it happened, yeah. So, but it's what you got to do when you want to keep your kids safe, or you want to keep other people safe. You know, you got to make a decision when you see them. Walk back. You know, don't walk forward, walk backwards. You know, step out of the scenario. You know, you just, whoa, I stopped at the wrong place. You know, I'm getting back in my car now. You know? Driving down the road, you're going to remember where that's located. Might tell a friend or two, don't go there. You know, we got to live like that. It's not about hate or prejudice or anything. It's about caring for your fellow brothers and sisters. And share your own feelings about this sort of stuff. This is so big. It's a very big thing. Gay pride flag is not a bad thing, but it's not a necessary thing. It's teaching, education. It's part of what goes on that gets them into the library, that gets them into PBS, that gets them into the church. And we can't allow this. Yeah. So then it comes, yeah, we saw PBS. PBS, I thought that was a good one. Okay, so now I'm turning you on to a better future. Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah. So in a better future, we have democracy. In a better future, we have President Biden and other presidents and other leaders who will be involved in the new group of world servers who are here to serve in relationship to change, major change. So here we have
It's good for all of us to be together. We're meeting today at an incredibly important time in the country, to state the obvious. And over the past 10 months, we've won passage of some, I think, extraordinary parts of our economic agenda. The bipartisan infrastructure law, the biggest infrastructure package since the Eisenhower administration, with the help of some of our friends on the other side of the aisle. The CHIPS Act, a law to spur investments and microchips, which I might point out were invented here in the United States of America and refined. But the CHIPS Act is a gigantic investment.
At IBM.
And it's going to create a number of jobs and technologies for the future. The Inflation Reduction Act, the law brings down the cost of prescription drugs, health premiums, healthcare premiums, and invests in made in America and a clean energy future. And the three things, along with other steps we've taken, like the American Rescue Plan, student debt relief, and is proof that democracy can deliver for the people. And there's a foundation of the kind of strong, forward-looking economy that we want to continue to build. And we're finally bringing home jobs that have been overseas for a while. I mean, notice some of the CAB members are smiling, but we're doing it, right? And we're making things here in America. We're making our supply chains more secure, and I believe we're winning the race to the future. Details matter, though. Execution matters, and I look forward to everyone here today giving me an update on your departments. And I'm incredibly optimistic about the future that we're building here in this country.
This morning, Senate Democrats have done it. After more than a year of negotiations and dead ends, Democrats have passed a reconciliation package that includes a bulk of their priorities.
The yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
Not one Republican voted for it, but who cares?
No Republicans voted in favor of the final bill. It passed with a tie-breaking vote from Vice President Kamala Harris. The bill went through some last-minute changes during an overnight vote-a-rama. That process allows senators to suggest amendments to the bill before a final tally. 7 Democrats, including Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona, voted in favor of a last-minute tax change introduced by Republican Senator John Thune of South Dakota. That led Democrats to scramble to replace that measure with one of their own. The final draft of the Inflation Reduction Act would invest more than $300 billion in the climate reform, the largest in American history. The bill allows Medicare to negotiate drug prices for the first time, cutting prescription drug prices for Americans 65 and older. It also adds a new 15% minimum tax on large corporations.
By Republicans, and that is the federal judiciary. In fact, in his first year as president, Joe Biden, with the help of Senate Democrats, has managed to confirm more federal judges than any president has in their first year since Ronald Reagan. And President Biden's nominees have in fact been far more diverse than any president in recent history. So far, nearly 75% of Biden's nominees have been women, nearly 65% have been people of color. And despite the ongoing pandemic, the Biden administration is now overseeing a historic economic recovery. Jobless claims are now at a 52-year low, with President Biden overseeing more job growth in his first year than any president since Jimmy Carter. And Bloomberg projects that President Biden will also oversee the biggest first-year expansion of the U.S. economy of any president since the 1970s. That's amazing.
That's correct.
To announce a tentative labor agreement that has been reached between the railroad workers and the railway companies. This agreement is a big win for America and for both, in my view. I want to thank the lead negotiators from the labor movement, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers, the Trainmen, International Association of Sheet Metal and Air and Rail and Transportation Workers Union, and the other labor unions engaged. And this is a win for tens of thousands of rail workers and for their dignity and the dignity of their work. It's a recognition of that. During these early, dark, uncertain days of the pandemic, they showed up so every American could keep going. They worked tirelessly through the pandemic to ensure that families and communities got the deliveries they needed during these difficult few years. And because of the labor agreement, those rail workers will get better pay, a 24% wage increase over the next 5 years, improved working conditions, peace of mind around their health care by capping the cost that workers will have to pay. And it's about the right to go to a doctor or stay healthy and make sure you're able to have the care you can afford. It's all part of this agreement. They earned and deserve these benefits. And this is a great deal for both sides, in my view. The agreement is also a victory for railway companies. And I want to thank the lead negotiators from the National Railway Labor Conference and our major rail companies. These companies also played a critical role in keeping America moving during the pandemic, and that's not hyperbole, it's a fact. With this agreement, railroad companies will be able to retain and recruit workers. They'll be able to continue to operate effectively as a vital piece of our economy. They're really the backbone of the economy. I have this visual image of rails being the backbone. I mean, literally, the backbone of the economy. So I thank the unions and the rail companies for negotiating in good faith. They've been up for 20 straight hours to that negotiation and for sticking with it, especially over the last few days. In fact, the negotiators here today, I don't think they've been to bed yet, so I don't want to keep this very long, and they're having to stand as besides. Together, we reached an agreement, you reached an agreement that will keep our critical rail system working and avoid disruptions of our economy. And I'm grateful for the members of the administration who worked tirelessly on both sides to help get this done. I especially want to thank Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, a card-carrying union member and the first union labor secretary in decades, for his tireless round-the-clock work. This agreement is validation what I've always believed. Unions and management can work together for the benefit of everyone. They're traveling now, a number of them up, but I want to thank Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg and Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack, who are deeply involved, along with, I want to thank Deputy Labor Secretary Julie Su, Director of the National Economic Council Brian Deese, and the Deputy National Director of Labor Celeste Drake for this commitment and hard work. To the American people, this agreement can avert the significant damage that any shutdown would have brought. Our nation's rail system is the backbone of our supply chain, everything you rely on. And it's hard to realize this, from everything from clean water to food to gas to everyday, liquefied natural gas, to everything, every good that you need seems to end up on a rail getting delivered to where it needs to go. With unemployment still near record lows and signs of progress in lowering costs, this agreement allows us to continue to rebuild a better America with an economy that truly works for working people and their families. Today is a win, and I mean this sincerely, a win for America. So I want to thank you all for getting this done, both business and labor. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and may God protect our troops. Thank you so much.
See, that's a real president. Yeah. You should see shit like that. Normal, common talk. He's not pointing out anybody in the media as the devil or evil or you're an asshole liar and I won't talk to you because you're CNN. The man's not crazy in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing that he says is a lie. In 20 minutes of talking, there's not one point is a lie or an exaggeration. He's normal. He's just normal. You should expect that. These are things you must pay attention to. I'm showing you Biden's life process as he's doing speeches and he's president and he's going through his process of being president. But you're probably not paying attention to it because there's more shit going on about Trump or whatever. But you need to put the experience of this guy in your life. It's like we are lucky to have had the experience of many presidents. Carter was a real wonderful guy. If you spent all the time you could witnessing him as a president, then later he becomes, the Habitat for Humanity, and builds houses for 30 years. Builds them, and travels the world, making sure that politics and democracy is available and that people's voting counts. He did that. He and a group of some of the top people in the world traveled into countries that are very, very, very dangerous. And he would go in and try and get them toppled and go into a democratic regime, get rid of the evil regime and go on. That's a heck of a thing. That's a world president. So Carter was world president for many, many, many years. And none of you really understand that's the case. And if you don't get that experience, you won't want that experience. If you just let it fly over your head and you're dealing with all these things you're supposed to tolerate rather than the things you're supposed to appreciate. If you spend all your time trying to figure out whether or not being gay is the right thing, stick with me. It's not the right thing. It's not, period. Just leave it out. Leave it out. Not a bad thing. It's not an evil thing. It's nothing. It's sickness. It's an illness. It is what goes on. And people have to be led into it. It's not a natural process. You have to be led into it. And you have to lead your mind into it. You have to accept the process, and then you have to move toward it. You have to literally develop it into your mind. It's the same way with being a perverted man, of a regular man who's interested in girls. You go through a perverted process. You disrespect the girl. You just take advantage of the fact that you're good looking. And there's no real developing of the person in order to be with another person. We got to go there. We have to take the time to do that. You take the time to be a football player or a basketball player or some professional person, but you don't take the time to be you. That's all left out. All of it is completely left out. So we die because our soul cannot integrate into the person you're not. And you just keep wanting it. You just keep wanting to follow that direction. And sometimes you'll go 20 years and go, oh, I can't do this anymore, and change my lifestyle. But it's not that much different. It's just a step aside. And you keep going down the same path, but it's just a step aside. I'm talking about a major, dramatic life change, to where you can accept being in a cave. You can accept living with very little, and not thinking yourself as poor. Not thinking of yourself as, oh, I don't have a job, you work it out. You get what little kind of means that you could develop and bring it into your life. In this world, it's very easy to work and maintain your life. It's very easy. It just depends on how much does your house cost and what kind of car do you have and how much is your insurance. What is your food situation, and do you go out a lot? Do you buy a lot of things? Do you have a lot of credit cards? You just go out on a whim, and all of a sudden now you got debt that you have to catch up on. You get $40,000, out of nowhere. You just all of a sudden now you got a debt, and that is the devil. That is the process. Yeah, you must avoid that. At all costs. It's not about just becoming a monk or nun. That's the very opposite of becoming a monk or nun. Grabbing a credit card, starting credit, owning something, maintaining that thing, going into all this. You're just putting pride before anything. Yeah, does that make sense? So let's change. Yeah. The key thing to changing is meditation and using the tools and get involved in that. The other thing is volunteer. Yeah, because I offer to people, if they can't become a monk and nun, they can volunteer in the process of extended Sangha, where I have Dharma centers, and I have places in Omaha, I have places in Nepal, I play all over the place. And people who want to do the right thing could put their time and energy into service. So we have Omaha and we have UK, and people can go extended Sangha and spend 3 months, 6 months, spend a year, going into service in those areas, and being able to, the service takes care of you. You don't, there's no rent. Everything is taken care of, your food's taken care of, the place you're going to live is going to take care of. But none of that is part of the process. A lot of times you go into a church or some kind of situation and you're going to go into service, they say, okay, you got to rent this house and you got to pay for these things, and that's really paying for them to be in the service, But we're not into that. Well, what I do is I try and provide the opportunity for people to be in the service we're already in. Yeah, and that you can include yourself in it. So you can go to Omaha and you could be of service, helping people, making sandwiches and things like that. And that turns a wheel that you're not used to. You're not used to being in service. You're not used to being in a situation to where you might show people soul therapy and allow people to do soul therapy and do that for like 6 months, and feel the experience. It changes your life. It does, because it's just a closer part of not being in a student who goes to the retreats and gets to soul therapy, but a person who's literally providing it for people, and you come to the center to be a member in that process in state of service. So it really does make a big, big difference on the long run in people's lives, is doing things of service. Because the key thing in Dharma service is that it's the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. And the Buddha comes in order to be of service, and that's what the Dharma is. So the Buddha provides the Dharma, which would be providing sandwiches or helping people and providing food or clothing or something of that nature, which is what I do in my Sangha activity. I help people, whether you're in the Sangha. If you're in the Sangha, usually in my Sangha, the person starts off as a homeless person, and I take them off the street and I give them a place within the Sangha to live. So they get a room or they get a part of a house that we're all renting, and it's just an extended part of Sangha. So that's basically how people in my Sangha interact and get into that process. So each one is receiving blessings from the Buddha into the Dharma, and our actions, our activities, and our service, being there, is entering into that Sangha. So the opportunities is that when people come to be of service, they're receiving that first opportunity. The other opportunity is that you can actually come for a retreat, and spend a month. And rarely do we get even paid for that. A lot of times people come, spend retreat, do retreat and all that, and we don't really ask much, but we should, but we don't, because I want to make it a service, and people come and doing that, they're of service. They package things, they learn to wrap, they learn to do things as though they're in the Sangha, and they're on retreat, and they get to do retreat just like the Sangha, and they benefit from that. So there's no money process that goes on. It's just a matter of service. But we're providing the service, We're providing the monastery. We're providing, if you go to Omaha, we're providing the Dharma Center. We're providing the place where you're going to stay and sleep and eat, and we're providing the food and the opportunity for you to go out and hand people sandwiches and get to know the people who are on the street. So that's service. It's all service. But the service that I do gives you the opportunity to be in service. But the service is to provide you that service. So you're actually being provided a service rather than you're in service. That's not how it is. You don't really come in service and be in service in that way, other than realizing that your entrance into service is the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and that it's actually created to serve you and not the other way around. So that's a whole new thing, a totally different way of looking at how things work, whether it be in a church or a business or anything like that. This is how I operate. So it is just, it's really clean. It's really clean. It allows people to, any action that you do, it allows you to practice karma yoga. Every level of yoga you can practice. You can go into soul therapy. Well, now, you're entering possibly, the influence of bhakti yoga, where you literally see God. While you're in soul therapy, you can literally see God. It happens to people. They literally hear me, see me right at the edge of the bed, as though I'm literally shocked that I'm not standing there. Because I am, but not in a normal physical sense, But that process of bhakti yoga becomes so strong that we're able to make this relationship take place. And you're able to rise up into that process of service by responding to my service to you, that I'm able to do things omnipresently because I want to serve so much. When you really, if this is your intention, you'll be made into more bodies and externalize in the state of omnipresence. That's what telepathy is. That's what intuition is. Allows you to be in more places at once. Allows you to be, here, but yet in another place, just by thinking, just by having good thoughts, just by being a good person, you become omnipresent. You literally have all these essences, and everything I have is available inside of you. So all this is magnified just through service. So let's do meditation. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. to clarify and stimulate my mind, to transform and transmute my feelings and emotions, to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body, so there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So in this invocation, I point out so that there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. And what that is that we all have a way of reacting to things. Yeah, we have a knee-jerk response to things. And without a normal flow of energy, you stop it. You stop that flow of energy. That's where your healing comes in. That's where your understanding comes in. That's where empathy comes in. That's where compassion comes in. That's where you have patience comes in. You know, your patience is the flow of the energy. Your impatience is the blocking that flow. Yeah. Your desire for something, and you can't, your condition as to how you're going to get it, why you want it, you know, you won't block that flow. You know, you will get it. Yeah. But it's not a good thing. You know, so in reality, you're blocking the flow of normal flow of energy. Yeah, the normal flow of energy is just, you're just flowing, you know, and the things that you're doing, they come naturally, and it becomes a magical interface, you know, because like here, to clarify and stimulate my mind, ooh, that would be nice. That would be nice. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions, this is all that flow, right? So what's flowing is to guide me into the right activity in the plan. You know, what if you have a knee-jerk at any given time, and your flow stops, and you have what? Pride. Yeah, you have a personal opinion. I'll think about it. I'll consider that. Yeah. Yeah, you know, you're missing the whole point. Yeah, because in the end, through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ, or not. Yeah, maybe I'm just open to consideration. Yeah, maybe there isn't a Christ. Yeah, maybe all that is up here in the plan to guide me in the right activity and plan, to clarify and stimulate my mind, to transform, transmute my feelings and energize, my vitalize and heal my physical body and etheric body. That's a lot. That's flow. Yeah, and for you to do what you need to do, for you to be normal, just to be you, you got to flow. Yeah, if you don't flow, you're going to be upset. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be anxious. You're going to have weird thoughts. You know, you're going to get desperate. Yeah, all these things will happen because your personality has no flow. Personality has pride, ambition, self-interest. Yeah, it simply is not the power, the love, the wisdom of your ashram. Yeah, or soul or monad. Yeah, for you're invoking all that to come through. Well, you better be ready to be guided into the right activity in the plan, because you're asking for the power and the love and the wisdom to manifest the ashram that you're existing in, and the soul and the monad. But if you don't flow, then every single one of those things is gone. Power's gone. Been completely shut off. Yeah? Love? Gone. Yeah? Wisdom? Nope, I got ignorance. Still ignorant. Yeah. Am I in an ashram? Choose not to be. Choose not to be. So therefore, how's my soul doing? How's the monad flowing? Yeah? How's it guiding me into the right activity and the plan? How's it clarifying, stimulating my mind? How's it transforming and transmuting my feelings and emotions? Yeah? All these things, your activity, your mind, your feelings, your emotions, if it's not energized and vitalized, then it's not power. Does that make sense? Yeah? Power is your pride. It's a false sense of pride, a false sense of illusion. It's an illusion, a delusion. Even though every day you wake up, every day you continue this process. Yeah? But, I'm in this 100%. I'm on it 100%. Yeah? And I provide all this 100%. Yeah? It's just a matter of whether or not we need to really, truly comprehend this reality behind the teaching. Yeah? Because the teaching is a knee-jerk reaction. How do we deal with the teaching? I say things that should cause a reaction in you. No transgenders. Bad thing. Kids shouldn't be put into this process. Bad thing. 3-year-olds should not be trained how to be a transgender. 3-year-olds. In school. In PBS. On Discovery Channel. Yeah? It shouldn't have gone this far. Yeah? But due to the reality that we don't choose the ashram. Yeah? To choose the ashram, we have to choose down here at the bottom. Christ, to serve the one. We have to choose the Christ to serve the one. And then we get that, we get to him, we get there, he's telling you, gays are no-nos. Very bad. Very, very bad. Seeking money? No. Thinking that you're in poverty consciousness, that you're poor? No. Yeah? Living in the fear of not having money? Living in poverty consciousness? Really bad. And it's all a psychological process of just us not able to pinpoint the reality behind it and why it exists. But we are in a situation to where we have no hope. None. It's a hopeless situation. Yeah? Because of money and sex magic. Sex magic goes in and it allows us to think a 3-year-old is perfectly a viable opportunity to start teaching them about sex. Yeah? Where in your mind would you think that? Where would that go? How would that happen? Well, we're led to do that. We're moved to do that. Yeah? To integrate that kind of question. We're being put into those situations where the Dharma doesn't put you into those situations. Yeah? The Dharma asks you, reconsider whether or not you should even date. Whether or not you should be having sex. Maybe you should be spending more time exercising, more time meditating, more time learning to cook, more time serving other people, more time caring for yourself to make sure you're healthy. And then you might heal some of the unconditional situations that are from previous lives that are causing you to have these expressions come up, just like PTSD from being treated in certain ways. You could have been raped. How many people in previous lives were raped, seduced, sodomized, just in torture, let alone in the process of having a husband or a wife, or someone that you thought you loved, but they're drunk and they rape you every other night, and you try and deal with that because they're handsome, they got a good job, and everybody likes them. They don't know they do this, but you do, and you have no way out of it because you're a sex object. You're an object. We're all objects. These little kids are objects. They're a fulfillment of sexual perversion, of desire body. And if you look at it, if you watched it, it was all based on money. They're in a bar, they're taking their clothes off, and the guys are handing money to the undressing little girl, or the undressing little boy, or the guy who's, dressed up as a girl, all in front of the kids. It's just like a lap dance. A very perverted scenario when you go into a bar. This is for children. What? Are you kidding me? And they're being paid money. Yeah. It's not a show. It's not just for entertainment. It's not story time, in a library. Yeah. It's a strong, perverted interaction to steal the souls of humanity. To steal the souls. Put you into so much chaos. You're so driven toward money and you're so driven toward wanting to be loved that you think love is sex. That's how you're going to know love. Yeah, you're going to make love. Yeah. And that's okay to do at 9 years old and 3 years old and 4 years old, and every day with anybody after you're 16 or 17 or 18. Yeah. And no controls over it. The more you do it, the prettier you are as a girl, the more virile you are as a guy. That's the way we're programmed. That's the way we see it. We're all animals. Yeah. And nothing is changed. You got to heal this thing. You have to heal this thing. You must take refuge. There's not another way. There's not another way. You can't do it a different way. Yeah? You might go, oh, well, I'm not going to buy a rainbow flag, and I'm not going to give money to the rainbow group, and I'm not going to go to a transgender show or some shit, I'll step back and not be involved in it. But that isn't what does it. It's you choosing to enter the Sangha. Getting past your pride, getting past all the things that make you Trump's little boy and Trump's little girl. Yeah? All the glamour and all whatever it is out there that allows you to feel fulfilled in the process of not being a monk or a nun, not being spiritually connected to the incarnation of Christ. That process can only be demonic. Yeah? And everybody is in how are we going to change the whole process of the fluidity of people falling in and allowing governments, allowing PBS to allow this on air. PBS! They taught us ABCs. They taught us not to eat bad shit. They were a good place. It was a safe place. It was a nice place. Not anymore. Yeah? Because the directors and the people in the show are all gay. Yeah? People who run CBS, people who run the Discovery Channel, people who run Disney, people who run Netflix, people run there. Go there. You'll see guys dressed up in dresses working at Netflix. Nearly 30% of them, yeah, are all drag. Are sitting there and you're buying their shit, watching their stuff. There's so many people quit Netflix after they found out that they all wear drag. Yeah? Because they got pissed off because a really great comedian made a comment over the fact of drag and gay and all that wrongness, that he was right in saying every bit of it. But due to the fact that the company that he was doing this with, which is Netflix, is 100% gay-oriented, and everybody working there is guys wearing dresses, they all came outside in their dresses, got on the news and complained. And they lost 20% of all their people who were watching Netflix because they could not believe that's what they're supporting? These creatures, these creeps? I mean, come on. They just, so many millions of people went online and quit. Yeah? Because they can get it from Amazon. They can get it from Apple. They can get it from Hulu. They can get it from so many places. We need to do this. We need to find out what's going on and not support it. Yeah? We need to find out. We need to cut back. We need to shorten what it is we're doing. Every single thing that we do brings us closer and closer to the Sangha, closer and closer to being able to change the alternative that everybody's being forced into. Yeah, we're not in a impoverished state. We are in a highly lucrative state. The United States is the most financially lucrative country in the world. We just spend our money in the wrong way. We do. We spend it in a completely wrong way. And now, at this time, we are investing in infrastructure and in processes that allows us to spend money that makes money. The $1 trillion that we're investing will bring back $3.5 trillion in income. In income. Yeah? Because we're going to build these factories, we're going to build these things, and we're going to build, we're going to have our own chips that we're not buying from another place. We have a whole bunch of engineers who will be developing and putting those things together. Yeah? So all of this is bringing us into Sangha rather than in poverty consciousness, which leads us into thinking that, we have governing problems and conspiracy and all kinds of weird things, but we really don't. Yeah? We have a good running government and good people that want to be of the government. Yeah? Lots of good people. All the crazy ones are coming out and we're looking at them going, God, Lindsay, you're nuts. That lady's crazy. And they're all Republicans. What? I'll be darned. And these Democrats, they're pretty smart looking people. They talk smart, they act smart, and they're not mean. They're not saying, we want our guns after they kill all the kids in school. They don't jump up and say, hey, we need our guns, don't be complaining. After they kill all the kids, please don't be complaining. We might lose our right to guns. Democrats don't do that. Only Republicans do that. And people are learning that the only reason they're shooting the kids is because of Republicans and because of the gun situation. And these people are programmed. They're lesser-minded, low-willed people. They do not have the control over themselves. They live by their grandfather's ideology. They live by the dog-eat-dog identity of philosophy, and religious dogma that, my religion is greater than yours. So there's very ignorant people. And we're moving. Because of this infrastructure, we're getting education, we're getting new vehicles, we're getting new technologies, we're getting everything. We're getting hospitalization that allows people to want to become doctors, want to become engineers, want to build the robots that are going to work and serve in those hospitals. The future's there, yeah? And all of it is in the first opportunity to come in to process over the next 2 years. We won't see anything for at least a year. But after that, we're going to see so much building, yeah? Monorails and you name it, things that we didn't think would ever happen will begin to happen. And people will have jobs. Like right now, we have so many jobs. We will have nobody unemployed. And people will get paid so much more than they were before. When people can be employed, when there's lots of people to be employed, then those people who are getting employed get raises a lot faster because they want to keep them employed. And a whole new structure starts coming into play where they give benefits and keeping people happy. Giving benefits in right relationship to the prosperity that's coming through the infrastructure things that we're doing. With no infrastructure, we keep it at dog-eat-dog. All the companies, corporations, and everything are fighting China, or they're fighting Mexico, or they're fighting Canada in corporate be able to buy and sell and keep the money flowing. But with infrastructure that we're building and everything and bringing over industry that was somewhere else, you know, in 5 years, we're going to be in a totally different world. Yeah. So have some faith in that. And know that the people that as they move, as I extend the process of showing what temples are, how holiness works, how Shambhala has an effect on all of this, and if we were to support the spiritual monadic impression on the planet, this would grow beyond our wildest imagination, and we would end North Korea's problem. We would heal the nations. We'd heal the nations. Heal one nation, you teach that nation how to heal all nations. That's how it works. But I need cooperation. All right? So let's meditate. Okay, so just relax. Close your eyes.
I am a messenger of light. I am a pilgrim on the way of love. I do not walk alone, but I know myself as one with all great souls, and one with them in service. Their strength is mine. This strength I claim. My strength is theirs, and this I freely give. A soul, I walk on earth. I represent the One. The past has gone. I am that past. It makes me what I am. The future comes. I also am the coming destiny, and therefore I am that. The present flows from out the past. The future colors that which is, I make the future also by my present knowledge of the past and the beauty of the present, and therefore I am that I am. Within the circle of the will of God I stand. Without the radius of the world of glamour, I take my place. And there I stand. Before the open door that just reveals a different lighted way, I take my stand. Before the presence, I will take my place, and there will firmly stand. And stand I see. Love is the incentive of our aspiration on the path. Love is the substance of our living in the world. Love is the light and the light of freedom from all creatures. Love pulses through the universe in a divine rhythm. Love is the consciousness of God. May the holy ones whose disciple I am show me the light I seek. May all mankind, may all humanity of all knowledge, may all light on earth make manifest the soul in all things, all life. I invoke the radiant golden sun to manifest the thread of the soul into the kingdoms of the elementals, into the kingdoms of the vegetables, the animals, into the astral plane. I invoke all humanity the will of God as the soul. I serve the world and lose myself in service. This is my life, and this is the way that I will tread until the day be with us all. Of energy within themselves, inaugurating certain new techniques in work and in modes of communication. I invoke the group of telepathic communicators. I invoke the group of trained observers. I invoke the group of magnetic healers. I invoke the group of the educators of this new age. I invoke the group of political organizers. I invoke the group of the workers in the field of religion. I invoke the group of scientific servers. I invoke the group of psychologists. I invoke the group of financiers and economists. I invoke all creative workers as the new group. I invoke the externalization of the inner existing of conditions within these groups, through the manifestation and the externalization of the avatar. Okay, just relax. Open your eyes. Take it easy. No screaming. I said no screaming. Okay, so I teach this about the gay situation, the money situation. I teach all this to educate you so that because you can look something up and you can read it, but you have to interpret it. Yeah? And I'm not allowing you to do that. I'm telling you straight out, this is what it is. This is what it is. If you want to continue studying or check into something else and see if there's other ways to pull anything off, go right ahead. But I'm explaining things to you so that you can answer things inside yourself that no one can answer. You know, is this gay situation in any way, shape, or form right? You know, is a person born to have homosexual tendencies? Are they born that way? Is it, you know, is there anything in nature that tells us that that's true?
And it's not. It's not that way. Yeah. But there is, in the science of esoteric understanding and the teachings of the Black Lodge, the teachings of the art of black magic, it includes homosexuality. It requires it. It requires it. It also requires greed. Yeah? Pride. Yeah? If you study Satanism, it's the whole focus is to get what you want. You know? Your will is what matters. Your will to be free to do whatever you please. That's Satanism. Yeah? And that requires a lot of pride to pull that off, because you got to step over people, step on people, lie to people, connive people, not care about people. You got to do all that, but to develop that nature, so that you could think you're free, because you think everybody's out to corrupt you. They're all the same as yourself, or the same as any bad person you may have met. And you think, well, they're all like that. I don't trust anybody. And it's not true. It's not true. We are all good. We're all good. It's a weird-ass phenomenon when hate and anger and suspicion, negativity, any of that appears in a human being. It's illness. It's an illness. It's not nature. It's not a part of what needs to express for them to be healthy, or for you to hear, for life to be different, to be better. It is an expression of pain and suffering, and overwhelming glamours of different kinds that have been played out. And when they're played out, they come back as strong characteristics of the person. And they can't get rid of it. You look at a Jew and you think a certain way. You look at a black person, you think a certain way. You can't get rid of it because it's part of your glamour. And you must, follow through with what I'm saying in order to erase these glamours, because they're everywhere. All wars, all hostility, all shooting, all desire of guns, all bad things come from these glamours. Every one of them. And the first one is pride. Yeah? And pride begets hate. And then jealousy. And enviousness. Yeah? It's everything that is said in God's little thing, please don't do this. Please don't do that. Please don't get that feeling and pull it off. It's just the devil pushing you to do something you shouldn't do. But you can. It doesn't mean because you can doesn't mean you should. You're testing God. It's a game between you and God. And you're testing God. You gotta stop it. This is not a game. It's a very serious situation. Children are dying. They're being put into this evil, dark magic scenario. And they won't be able to get out of it. Not in this lifetime. It'll be a horrible cultural process for that particular group. And they'll have to live through it, through suffering and suicide. They don't live past 30, people. Transgender people do not live past 30. Yeah? Homosexual people rarely live past 45. Rarely. You just don't read. You don't look the statistics up. Yeah? They're not gay. They're not joyful. They're not happy. They're not liberated. They have gone down the wrong path. And they're trying to take you with them. And they're trying to take the children. And they're getting on TV. Yeah? And it's not about tolerance. It's about whether or not you're in the Sangha. If there isn't enough people in the Sangha, then there's a lot of people in the Dark Lodge. Yeah? And you got to do everything you can to stop the Dark Lodge from recruiting people, and you don't go out picketing. You change your own situation. And you strengthen your scenario that will then strengthen people who are connected to you, and your weakness is their weakness, and your strength is their strength. And that's the only way it works. There's no other way. Yeah? And where I come from, that's the only way it works. Yeah? We don't use people, we don't harm people, we do nothing against people, we care for people, but we have to give them strength, and we have to take up their weakness. We have to. So that means we have to do more for ourselves to do for others. And it's not about us running around picketing and telling people that they're doing the wrong thing. Yeah? We just have to do better. And when we do that, we increase the light on earth, and we affect the people who millions of years from now will all be our family. Your mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle, and they're all people you despise right now. You couldn't live in that life, but you will reincarnate with those people as your family members like you do today. And that's what breeds this scenario. We cannot have that. We have to be in a loving, beautiful ashram. We have to be. Yeah? Or you're missing out. And what's the sense of that? That's ridiculous, because you reincarnate. You know? This is a totally ridiculous scenario. Come on. Okay? All right. See you in heaven. Enjoy.